Now, I couldn't call myself D&D AF. Couldn't claim to be that unless I owned a copy of this. This is the basic Dungeons & Dragons set, sometimes known as the blue box, because the rulebook inside is blue. This dates from the 70s, of course. I believe this copy is 1978 was printed. I got it used, secondhand, of course. I got a really good price on this, considering how old this is and how rare it is. This only covers the levels 1 to 3. But it's meant to get you started and basically give you a kick in the pants and get you playing AD&D, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, because it does heavily encourage you to check out those rule books as well. Well, let's open it up, shall we? First, let's take a look at the back of the box here. Okay, and it shows you what you get in there. And I have verified it's all in there. Now, of course, you get the box cover. I'm not sure why they showed you that, because it's right here. You get the rule book. You also get an introductory module, which is Keep on the Borderlands. I've also got extra copies of this of my own. Not sure if the one that's included in it is the actual one that came in this particular box. Somehow I don't think so, but anyway, yeah. This is old AF and D&D AF, Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, you got some classic adventurers. The wizard with the pointy hat and everything, and looks like a dork. And the heavily armored fighter with a longbow shooting at a red dragon sitting on his treasure pile. Well, you should really know better. But hey, you want that loot, you gotta kill that dragon. That's what the game's all about. Okay, so let's open it up. Here is a monochrome version of that same picture, I think. I don't know, is it just me or does it look a little bit different? No, I guess it's the same picture. Basically, yeah, this is the blue book. Basic rules. On the back it tells you other things you can buy. Yeah, talks about some of the advanced D&D modules right there. Here we go. Monster Manual, Player's Handbook, adventure modules for basic, search on Dungeon Master's Guide. Yeah, this is a pretty sweet find. The original adult fantasy role-playing game for 3 or more players. TSR. Now, you know, looks a little beat up, couple stains on the cover. I believe there's some writing inside as well, but love that picture. Fighting a horde of orcs. Same pointy hat wizard, probably the same fighter. Dungeons and Dragons. Registered trademark. Okay, now let's see. Now this is, of the basic rules anyway, is the 2nd edition, November 1978. So this is older than probably most of the people watching this video, or the significant portion of you anyway. But it's not older than me. And I do remember seeing this in hobby stores back in the day. Back when there was no such thing as like a gaming store, or maybe there was shortly after, but yeah, a hobby store, somewhere you go to buy model railroad things, and suddenly there's this game that seemed really out of place, this fantasy game. Pictures of wizards and dragons and all that stuff. There's a cool picture. Guy riding a giant lizard. Looks like something out of a Conan novel. Yeah, and there's a nice preface here. Tells you what the rulebook's all about. This right here, forward from the original edition, and it's a letter basically from Gary Gygax, and yeah, it gives proper credit to all the writers and all that stuff. It really heavily mentions Dave Arneson's contributions to the game, and I don't know where the whole disagreement happened and all that, and I guess it was all over business and money and whatnot, but yeah, basically it's a nice little write-up. And again, it's going to introduce you more to D&D. It's going to tell you what it's like to play D&D, because this was a very weird thing for people to do in 1978. Yeah, so it's got all your basic rules. Tells you how to play the game, how to use this book. Read it. That's how you use it. And then creating characters. There's a little thing at the bottom here, and it's very not unorganized, but I guess I hadn't really figured out a system of organization yet. Talks about ability scores and prime requisites, which is something that yeah, it's been around since the beginning. Adjusting ability scores. Then it talks about equipment and weapons. It's got a table of like equipment that you can buy and how much it costs in terms of gold, I guess. Additional character classes. Got the alignment chart. They had that figured out like day one. Okay. But yeah. How do we... Oh, here we go. Here's your character classes somewhere in there. You could be fighting men, a fighting man, a halfling, a dwarf, a magic user, a cleric, thief, dwarf, elf, halfling. Yeah, back when races were classes as well. It was all very generic. It was really cool. And this is like, it just scratched the surface of what you could actually do and accomplish with a set of D&D rules. It's not like, this game also tells you in the very first couple pages, take what you want, use what you want, play your own game. But here's a whole bunch of suggestions and you got to put it all together. Just kind of throw all these rules at you, and then you got to reference and cross-reference, and you go, okay, how do we actually play though? You know, that's not really spelled out that easily. I love that picture. A little cartoony. Here's some harpies. Oh, that harpy's stacked. Hydra. Yeah, it's got its own little mini monster manual in the middle here. You know, and the stat blocks are very, very brief. This would be magic item tables and some descriptions of some of the items. Yeah, sample layers. Dungeons, rather. Oh, here we go. Yeah, see the writing all over this. Scroll of protection, magic item from undead. Wow, they got some notes here. Hadn't actually read this before. Ring of Three Wishes, whoa. And this is just like a sample dungeon. Pretty cool. I suppose I should erase the pencil marks, but I want to keep them there, I think, because I don't know, just reminds me that somebody actually used this book to play a nice little adventure and kept track of everything. And it's got like a write-up for this sample dungeon. Yeah, and apparently they used this book while they were keeping track of hit points and whatnot, and taking notes in pencil on the page. Thank God they used pencil. Ad for Gen Con. Okay, so you got some of your reference tables here. Cost of equipment, spell lists, and saving throw table. Normal man, fighting man. No mention of women at all in this edition. I guess it's just assumed that, well, there aren't going to be any females playing this game because it's pretty nerdy, and like don't think women would be into it. At least there weren't that many that were back in 1978, so they didn't bother to use you know, inclusive pronouns and things, and they just kind of assumed it was all dudes, and it usually was, at least in my experience back then. Then yeah, of course this comes with the Dungeon Module B2, the Keep on the Borderlands. Now I can tell just from the back cover of the box that this is not the same edition that actually came in the set. But it's nice that, you know, the person I bought it off of, they at least included a copy of the same module, which is almost identical, except for it's got a different, you know, it's got I think it's just a yellow tag here in the corner. Yeah, Keep on the Borderlands. This is a weird module. Now, I opened this up the first time. I was like, ooh, cool, look. They're going to be in a dungeon fighting an owl bear. Or at least I think that's an owl bear. But look at this. Now, you tell me what that is. It's a map of something. There's big clumps in the middle. Now, what it is, I didn't get this the first time. But what it is, it's supposed to be set in like a sort of a canyon right here. And there's a bunch of caves. This would be on the canyon floor where the trees are and stuff. And there's a bunch of caves cut into the rock at different levels. So in other words, this is actually above that level right there. And probably somewhere in the map there's actually like stairs going up and stuff like that. But now all the caves are not necessarily connected. And the deal here is that each one of these like little entrances to the caves, like there's F, E, D, G, A, whatever. We probably can't really see that, but yeah, there's little cave openings like A right there, C, H. Each one of those is supposed to be populated by like a different type of monster. So there's like a kobold cave, I think is A. I'm not 100% sure if that's it. There's like an orc cave. There's also like a random, holy shit, there's a bugbear. An owl bear in their cave. And yeah, all kinds of weird stuff like an evil human cult and things like that. Evil priest. So that's your adventure location. And basically, the title of the module being Keep on the Borderlands. This is not a keep. But the keep that lies on the Borderlands, the titular keep, there's a map of that in here. And a map, wilderness map of where it's located. There's the keep. Now, these are the Borderlands, I guess. And it's got the Cave of the Unknown. And here's the Caves of Chaos. That's what that is. Caves of Chaos. Right there. So it's like, you got this location that's like, okay, we ride out of town. Probably gonna take us like a day to get there. Maybe not. Maybe less. And let's go fight some monsters and we'll take their treasure. And we'll go back into town. Well, the keep, which functions as a little town. We'll go back there, sell some shit, and then we'll, you know, get the supplies we need and go back out and kill some more monsters and clear out the Caves of Chaos. Now, the Cave of the Unknown is where it's described in this module as, oh, this is where the DM places his own creation, puts his own dungeon. And I think actually whoever owned this before me actually started making their own dungeon, because this blue stuff here, this blue pencil, I didn't put that in there, and that's not printed in there. And there's pencil on there as well. The two towers. Ooh. Sounds intriguing. Yeah, and it's got all kinds of stuff. Like, it is an introductory module, and it does tell you how to play the game even more in here than what's included in here. But yeah, it's so confusing. It's like you gotta flip to this page to find this info, flip to this page to find this info. Then when you get into a battle in one of the caves, say, yeah, every monster has its own individual hit points. It gives you some basic stats, but if you really want to know, okay, well, what kind of saving throw does, say I cast a fireball, what kind of saving throw does this guard have? Well, I don't know, it's on here somewhere. I think so. Monster attacks, character attacks, saving throws. Yeah. Saving throws for monsters. Or for higher level characters. Okay, yeah, and again, levels 1 to 3. Now, this is also designed to take characters from levels 1 to 3. And it doesn't have any rules to go past level 3. Though that's just going to assume that you're going to buy the advanced Dungeons and Dragons rule books. So, yeah, you know, cool. So this really, it is a standalone game. You could pick this up and you could play it right out of the box. You may say, well, where's the dice? Apparently these are your dice. So you just got a number of chits here. There's 2 sets of 1 to 20 and they're double-sided. So when you cut them out, you say, okay, I'm gonna roll a 20-sided die. So you take all the black ones here, cut them all out, cut them individually into little chits, and on the reverse, there's your result. So you mix them around and stuff, and then you pick one out and go, 7. I got a 7. And then you compare that to your chart and your abilities and all that stuff, and the DM tells you whether it's a hit or miss. This is just an alternative to rolling dice. They do highly recommend buying dice in here, but they give you this as like it's just a backup, just in case you can't find any dice or you just don't own any. Using dice or chits. Yeah, it's got all the procedure. It's got a special procedure to use this. Sorry, excuse for dice. Yeah, it's pretty primitive, but apparently that's what they actually used to do when they were creating the game. So I guess they threw that in there too as a little bit of, you know, nostalgia, a little bit of OG goodness. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons blue box. I mean, it's not totally blue. It's kind of more gray, and it's got a bunch of red on it. It's, as I said, it's pretty beat up. There's a tear in the box there. I mean, that being said, it's still worth more than I paid for it. I got a really good deal on this from a dude off the internet. Met him here locally. First time I've ever bought D&D stuff on a street corner. It just happened that's where I met him and, you know, picked this up from him. And I got a sweet deal, and I got to say thanks, buddy. And, you know, I really love this game. It is D&D AF. MF.